Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Everyday Homeschooler. My name is Sarah, and today we are going to talk about all things homeschooled record keeping related. So when you come to the end of your homeschool year, what do you do with all of your kids' papers, workbooks, notebooks, math books? What do you do with all those worksheets? If you're anything like our family, by the end of the year, my kids have an entire bookshelf full of finished curriculum. What do you do with all that? This is something I struggled with for years and years. I wasn't sure what I should do with all of my kids' work at the end of each year. At first, I kept everything. I just bought a big storage bin or a banker's box, and I took everything, every piece of paper that they wrote their name on, anything and everything, I threw in the box and kept it. After a few years and a few kids, I realized this was never going to work. Little by little, my basement was being overtaken by box after box after box of homeschool stuff. Before long, I was being overtaken by a Mount Everest of homeschool papers. I knew there had to be a better way. So I started asking around to a lot of my homeschool friends what they did with all of their records. What did they keep? What did they pitch? What did they do with all of it? Everyone I asked seemed to have a different answer. Some people kept everything. Some people kept nothing. Some people wanted to take it out back and light it on fire. Not really, but kind of. Sometimes you feel that way at the end of the school year. So I decided to do what most of us do. I jumped online and started watching YouTube videos and reading blog posts. And I finally came up with a system that has worked really, really well for our family the last few years, and I want to share it with you. I morphed it out of several other people's systems, out of how they organize all of their homeschool record keeping. In particular, I took a lot of this from Janelle Knutson, a blog post she did. I will make sure to link it below. But this system just works really well for our family. So before we go any further into details about my record keeping system, the first thing I want to remind you guys is check your state requirements. If you are not familiar with your state requirements or you haven't looked at them lately, double check them. See what your state requires of homeschoolers, whether it's test results, assessment signatures, portfolios. Every state has different requirements. So whatever is required by your state, make sure you hold on to that. Don't ever pitch that. Just in case you would ever need to prove that you homeschooled, make sure you keep all of that. Keep all of the correspondence that you do with your school district. Anything, especially on the legal side of things, make sure you keep all of that. I would actually go a step further to tell you that anything legal document-wise, correspondence, things like that, I would not only tell you to hold on to the paper copies, but I would encourage you to make a soft copy of those as well. Take a picture, screenshot, anything you need to do so that you can have both a soft and a hard copy of all of your legal documents for your homeschool. That way, if you have a flood or a fire or a toddler who rips through your box of files, you still have access to all of your legal documentation. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do, and this is a little bit of a hard one, chuck your mama guilt. This is tough. We are going to throw some of your kids' work away today. We're going to throw away a lot of it. And I know that can be really hard for some moms, some dads, some parents. It can be tough to throw away Susie's little hand-painted, finger-painted thing she made in preschool, or to chuck Joe's paper that he spent 2 weeks writing about the Underground Railroad. It can be hard to throw away our kids' work. We can't keep everything. And if it's going to bother you, then you're going to have to be like me and make your Mount Everest of homeschool records. But if you're ready to get rid of all of the paper, get rid of the guilt. Just chuck it. Let's leave it. All right, it's gone. All right, so let's move forward. So supplies that you're going to need. you are going to need a hanging file folder box. I bought mine at Staples, but you just definitely want to purchase one that has a lid. I'll make sure to put one down in the description box, something similar to what I use. You're also going to need some hanging file folders. Just like this, they have the little tabs on each side to let them hang in the box. You are going to need 15 of these. You definitely are going to need one just general one for your homeschool, and then 14 per child. So 15 total if you're doing one child. I would also tell you you should get some manila folders. These are great for organizing different things within each of your hanging file folders. You will also need paper clips or a stapler and staples, just some way of binding papers together. You'll need a pen or a Sharpie, and then depending on what type of labeling style you are, whether you like to use a label maker or print things off of your computer or just, good old-fashioned handwriting, think through how you want to label your box and label each of your file folders and gather those supplies as needed. You're also going to need the mountain of schoolwork that your child completed for the year. Now, for each of my kids, I'm not kidding, bigger than my head, like huge stack of papers. Pile all of those up, and then you're going to need some time, a good hour, maybe 2, to do this project. Lastly, and I say this in jest, but not really, you're going to need some coffee and maybe some chocolate or chips or some type of snack because, get comfortable. Make this fun. The first thing you're going to do is set up your box. So you will need to open up your box, hang all of your file folders in there, and label them. You're going to label one as legal documents. This file folder will be for any type of the correspondence and things I mentioned earlier in the video. Anything that has to do with your school district, anything that's required by your state, all of those legal papers put in this file folder. Next, you're going to take your other 14 hanging file folders and label them for your child. And you're going to take tabs and label them from preschool all the way through 12th grade. Now, if you're switching to homeschool and your child's in 5th grade, then obviously you're just going to need 5th for however many years you're going to homeschool your child. But if you want to set up your entire box, set up one file folder for each year you plan to homeschool. So for most of us, that's preschool through 12th grade, 14 hanging files. So now this is the hard part. You need to go through all of your child's work for the year. So what I suggest is just doing it one bite at a time, one subject at a time. So today I'm going to use spelling as my example. I took Leah's spelling book and I opened it up, and I would suggest saving anywhere from 3 to 10 pages from each subject of your child's work. So I try to save something at the beginning, something in the middle, and something in the end. Something to show progress, something to show where your child started and where they ended this school year, all the things they learned and how much improvement they had. So you can see here what pages I saved. Just again, some of my favorites, some of the things she was really proud of. You don't have to feel like you have to save only the papers that your child got 100% right on. Go ahead and save a page where your child got a C or only got half of the answers right. Again, the goal here is to show progress and that they were learning and doing school throughout the year. After you've decided what pages you're going to save for your child, go ahead and grab a paper clip or that stapler and bind all of those pages together. Then grab a pen or a Sharpie and write your child's name, the school year, and what grade in school you're attributing this year to. I know for homeschoolers, sometimes we don't like to label our kids with a grade level. That's okay. But write the school year and write their name. That way, if maybe your toddler or a child accidentally dumps their homeschool record box, you can easily put all of the papers back in the correct folders down the road. Now, this next part is the part you're either going to love or it's going to make you cringe. One of the two. Most people are in one camp or the other. I want you to take whatever is left in that spelling workbook or whatever subject you just finished and throw it away. That's right, dump it in the trash. Now in this video, I dumped it in my trash. Full disclosure, I fished it back out and put it in my recycling bin. I just did this for effect. But you get the point. Let go of your guilt and throw the rest of the work away. You do not need to keep it. You do not need to keep every math worksheet, every spelling test, every project. If you did, you would be facing a Mount Everest of homeschool papers just like I was. So throw them away and move on. Now, if you are the sentimental type and there are some items that you're just really struggling with letting go of or putting in the garbage, I would also suggest this. Don't be afraid to take pictures or videos before you throw something away. If your kindergartner made this beautiful finger painting, have them hold it up and smile real big with that toothless grin of theirs. You're going to cherish and treasure a picture of them holding their artwork much more than you're ever going to appreciate a painting that's stored in a bin in your basement. You'll love the picture so much more. If your middle schooler wrote a paper about the Underground Railroad that just, was impressive and you just loved it, take a video of them reading it aloud. You will love someday being able to look at how old they are and the clothes they were wearing and the house you were living in at the time and the surroundings around them. You'll enjoy that so much more than some paper collecting dust down in your basement. This is the point where I also take some time to start making a list. I pull out my homeschool planner and calendar and I look back at our year and I write down any of the books my child read, any of the read alouds that I read to all of my kids, chapter books or audio books we listened to. I write down a list of all the field trips we took and all the educational activities and projects we did throughout the year. Again, just all those special extras we did in our homeschool outside of our books of curriculum. I go ahead and make a list of that and I stick it in a manila file folder within my hanging file. This is a place where I also will throw certificates, awards, anything that my child got throughout the year that I want to hang on to and save. Again, the point is to save and document things your child did in their school year and show their progress. So I kind of use this as a litmus test. I ask myself the question, if I had to prove that Leah did school in 2015, how would I do that? And I make sure that whatever I put in that 2015 school year folder will prove that, will show that she did school, that she covered all the things that were required in our state, and that she made progress throughout the year. That's how I decide what to save and what to pitch. Once you have gotten through the mountain of your child's work and you have pitched everything, now you get to be done. You get to put the lid on the box and put it in storage until next year. Now, something I would warn you, don't store your boxes too far in the back of your attic or back in your basement crawl space where it's really hard to get to. Because come next year when it's time to go through all of your child's work and store it again, you're not going to want to crawl back there and grab it, and you're just going to create a box all over again. So make sure that you keep your records in a place that's easily accessible to you. Also, this works so well if you are homeschooling one child, but if you're like me and you're homeschooling multiple children, something that I took from Janelle Knutson that I just thought was so smart was color coordinating. I used green file folders and green manila folders for Noah, and I used purple for Leah and red for Mariah, and I went ahead because I'm a planner and already made Ezra's and Ava's. I have, Ezra's are blue and Ava's will eventually be yellow, and I color coordinate each child so they're easy to distinguish which one is which. Each child will end up with their own record-keeping box. You'll see in my clips here that right now I'm having my children share because we're only completing 6th and 7th grade right now, so I don't need an entire box for each kid. But eventually each child will have their own box. So at the end of my homeschooling career, if we have 5 children, I will have 5 homeschool record boxes, and that's it. I'm not going to have a Mount Everest of homeschool paperwork. So however many children you have, that's how many boxes you will have, and I would definitely suggest color coordinating them. Just if for any reason it's visually pleasing. If you like this kind of content, please just give this a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Tell me how you organize your homeschool curriculum, how you decide what to get rid of and what to keep. Maybe you do something totally different than me. I would love to see what you do. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Hit that red subscribe button down there. I am going to add this to my How to Homeschool playlist, where I'm going to keep adding different videos about how to homeschool and how to just get through all the nuts and bolts of homeschooling. Again, my name is Sarah, and I'm with Everyday Homeschooler, and I will continue to make new videos each week about education, homemaking, and everyday life. See you later.